Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai, and welcome to Jagadamba Reads the Holy Books of India, ShrimadBhagavatam242. As you may remember, Nanda was commanded to take his child to Yashoda and to take Yashoda's child and bring it back to the prison. Vasudeva and Devaki were wondering how this could be achieved, considering that the doors were all locked and armed guards were stationed at every doorway. Kamsa had doubled the guards ever since he knew about the child to be born to Devaki. Vasudeva placed the child in a small wicker basket and covered him with his upper cloth. He held the basket in his hands and looked in despair at the locked doorways. A miracle was seen. The locks snapped open on their own accord, and with amazement writ on their faces, they watched the doors swing open. Vasudeva walked towards the door and found that the watchmen were all sunk deep in sleep. He walked out without any trouble and reached the banks of the river Yamuna. The sky was suddenly overcast, and dense black clouds gathered in the heavens. Rain began to fall in torrents, and Vasudeva did not know how he was going to cross the river, which threatened to brim her banks. Placing his faith in the Lord, Vasudeva stepped into the waters. Without his knowing, Adishesha followed him, and with his 1,000 hoods he protected the child from the rain. The river Yamuna, whose waters had swollen so much because of the downpour caused by Indra himself, suddenly gave way to Vasudeva, even as the ocean gave way to Sri Ramachandra when he wanted to cross the sea and reach Lanka. Vasudeva reached Nanda Gokul following the commands of the Lord. He went straight to the home of Nanda. He reached the apartments of Yashoda, Nanda's queen. Vasudeva saw a child lying by her side. Gently he lifted that child after placing his own son by the side of Yashoda. He placed the other child in his basket. It was a girl. The entire Gokula was asleep in a trance. Vasudeva traced his steps back to Mathura and came back to his prison. He placed the child by the side of Devaki, and he found that the doors had locked themselves. He placed the irons on his ankles and hands, and they waited for the coming of Kamsa. 151. Vishnu Maya. The palace was roused by the lusty cries of a newborn child. The guards who were at the doorways rushed to the presence of Kamsa and said, "My lord, Devaki's child has been born. We hurried here at once to inform you about it." Kamsa was lying on his bed trying to sleep. Sleep had forsaken him long ago. Ever since he knew that Devaki was with child, that it was her 8th child, he knew no peace. Seeing the unearthly halo which had surrounded her, he knew that the child to be born would be the death of him, and he could not sleep. When he heard that the child had been born, he snatched his sword with his hair flying in the breeze. He rushed to the prison which held Devaki and Vasudeva. Devaki saw him and thought it was the god of death who was coming towards her. So terrible was the look on his face. She fell at his feet and said, "Beloved brother, please do not kill this child. Spare her to me, because it's a girl which has been born to me. Every one of my sons I gave you, and you killed them all, but this is a girl. What can a poor girl do? I am sure she's incapable of fulfilling the prophecy which has frightened you. Spare her. Killing a woman is a terrible sin. Do not commit that folly. I was once dear to you. In the name of that love, I ask you, please give me this one child." She held the child to her bosom and held it tight. Tears were bathing the form of the newborn child. Devaki's prayers fell on deaf ears. Kamsa was like one possessed, and the fear of death had made a beast of him. Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Thank you for coming. I hope you come again.